would like to thank our amazing sponsors, Touring Plans Travel. Their destination specialists work with you to plan and book your trip. Whether you're traveling to a theme park, headed out on a cruise, or wanting to get away anywhere in the world. As experts in smart travel, their agents suggest the best itineraries and activities to fit your family's needs and handle all the reservations on your behalf. There is no cost to you or your family when using Touring Plans Travel services, and you may even save some money if discounts become available after booking. So head over to touringplans.com/travel and tell them Rope Drop Radio sent you. Now, on to the show.
Helping you navigate the Disney parks.
With the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world.
You're listening to Rope Drop Radio.
Welcome to another Rope Drop Radio. Derek and Doug talking all things rope dropping today. Doug, it's our favorite episode to kick off every new year, and that's How to Rope Drop in 2023.
That's right. Happy New Year, listeners. Welcome to 2023.
It's a new year, yet there is someone out there who keeps downloading How to Rope Drop in 2020, and I just do not understand why
I love
that
them.
show.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's got to be one person at this point, but every time I look at I don't know what it is about that episode. I go back, look every few months. I'm like, oh, it got 3 downloads. Thank you, one guy.
It's because we talk about FastPass Plus.
Yes, and all the things that are not around. Memories.
Extra magic hours.
Things that someday might come back.
No. Okay, moving on. 2023.
Yes,
it's here,
it's
Let's
here,
talk
and we're
about
going
it.
to talk all about it. But first, we got to give a shout out to our Patreons, a few longtime Patreons, Molly Hemphill, Susan Stroop, Rachel Greer. Thank you so much for being part of our Patreon community, getting the after show and some Christmas cards. In fact, I got a lot of Christmas cards. I know Doug did too from a lot of Patreons. So thank you guys for thinking of us during the holiday season. It means the world to us. We got handwritten letters and everything. So thank you, Patreons, and thank you, listeners, most of all.
Yes, thank you very much for everything. And Apple Podcast reviews. We appreciate the 5-star reviews.
Yes, those are our
particular.
favorite.
Those are. So let's read one today. Fun and informative, 5 stars by Andy K. Nailed it.
You got that one.
I got that one.
Finally.
I got that one. What was it, a couple weeks ago? Somebody just threw letters out there for me.
Just typed it randomly.
My favorite person. Yes, thank you so much. All right, anyway, back to the review. I've listened to my fair share of Disney podcasts over the past year, but only recently found Rope Drop Radio. I have been missing out for sure, and am now powering through past episodes. Probably.
Yeah, there you go. They got the 2020.
Glad you got that one in. Anyway, these guys are fun, know their WDW stuff, and they are fellow Nebraskans, which makes them even cooler. A must subscribe if you are planning a trip or just need to get your Disney World fix. There you go. Fellow Cornhusker.
Yeah,
Derek.
go Big Red.
Yeah. But our marketing strategy within Nebraska is clearly lacking if they went through other podcasts first.
To find us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
We need to get some billboards up on I-80.
There you go. That's what everyone needs to see. Just Rope Drop Radio billboard. Yeah, that's going to draw on everyone. So
yeah,
well, thank you, Andy, and thank you, everyone who's left a review. We will continue to read them all year. Hopefully this year we never have a break in them, so please take a moment and leave that 5-star review. So today we are talking about rope dropping. It is Rope Drop Radio. That is what we do. But I think to start it all off, Doug, you kind of need to give a definition of what rope dropping is.
Oh, yeah. It is on a T-shirt, just to clarify, over at T Public on our little store there.
And like 15 people have bought one, so thank you.
No, that's our most popular shirt, the definition shirt. Yeah, so rope dropping is the opening of the park. Back in the day, Disney used to physically hold a rope, and when the park opened, they dropped it. I had been on that rope and sprinted to Splash Mountain when it was a brand new attraction with my dad and my brother and my sister. I think we lost her halfway there, though. I don't know what happened. There's no cell phones. She was just gone for the day. But that was the opening of the park. They literally dropped it. Now they hold a rope up and then they take it back and they say, don't cross that line. It's not nearly as exciting as when they dropped it and you could trip over it, but there's still a rope that exists. Lots of ropes.
Lots of ropes. And I have lost count now how many times in the last 6.5 years I've had to explain, why do you call it Rope Drop Radio? And then I basically give that. You know, there's a rope. It's a thing. Just listen to the podcast at this point.
And now you are a true Disney World fan because you know what rope drop is.
There you go.
You can't actually. I've met people that are like, oh, I'm a huge Disney Parks fan. And then they don't know what rope drop is.
They're not a real fan.
Now they are.
Yep.
Welcome.
So congratulations, real fans.
Yes.
So yeah, we're going to be talking about all 4 Walt Disney World parks. We're going to talk about some strategies staying off and on property. So yeah, just going through the whole gambit today, Doug.
Yes. And just a little tease for next week, we are going to talk about Genie Plus lightning lanes, individual lightning lanes, tips and tricks and how to use it. So we're not going to dive into how to make your Genie Plus today. That's next week.
Oh, there we go. All right. But yes, and so let's talk about some of the fundamentals of rope dropping, Doug.
Well, first you need to stretch really good. No,
yes, you do.
Yeah, you probably do.
Need to
stretch. You need to stretch a little. So first up, when to leave your room. If you're staying on property, I think you head towards the bus stop about an hour before the park opens. For everything, let's just assume the park opens at 9. That's the regular opening time that they publish. If you're staying on property, you get to use what is called early park entry. Very creatively named, right?
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's literally you get to enter early.
Keep it simple.
By a half hour if you're staying on property. This is huge. And it's every park,
all 4
every
parks.
day. So if you're off property, you are always a half hour behind everybody. That's smart. That listens to the show at least. All right, so hour before is when you want to be heading to that bus stop. However, if you talk to the front desk at a hotel, Derek, about what time the bus might be, what might they say?
Oh, an hour before, 30 minutes before. They're terrible sometimes. They don't even know.
They will lie to you.
Yes.
I think they'll always say 40 minutes the most. We've seen them well before that. It varies. There's no hard set in stone time when that first bus is going to come, but about an hour before should get you to the park at relatively good time to be on or near the rope. And say the park opens at 9, you have early entry at 8:30. That means you're getting to the bus stop at 7:30 a.m.
That's right.
And the front desk
bus
might
stop,
tell you
monorail, Skyliner, all the things.
Yeah. So, and Skyliner and monorails have different operating hours. Those you can actually check. They publish those. But that first bus, it's probably going to be around an hour before anything opens because they also have to get people to their breakfasts. And they got to get people that are spending money on food. That's their number one priority.
Chef Mickey's, it's there. People got to get to the Contemporary.
Yeah. So what other ways, Derek, getting to the park, we mentioned bus, Skyliner, monorail. There's a couple others.
Yeah, walking. If you're staying near Magic Kingdom, whether it be a Contemporary, if you're staying in the loop of Boardwalk, Beach Club, Yacht Club, you can get to Epcot or get to Hollywood Studios, which is needed. So yeah, a lot of ways you can get there. I wish you could walk from Animal Kingdom Lodge to Animal Kingdom. That would be great. But walking, especially when Millennium Falcon and Rise were brand new attractions, that was the only way to rope drop for a while.
You were always the first people if you walked. And you can still make sure you're the first ones if you walk. You can leave even a little earlier to make sure. Disney will stop you when they want to stop you. You just keep on walking. I think walking is the best way to get to rope drop. And that, like you said, that's very limited. Contemporary, Yacht, Beach, Boardwalk.
Grand Flow you can walk. Technically Poly.
Right?
You don't want to walk from Poly.
That's a bit of a hike. I would take a boat or a monorail. But so the walking is the best option. The other option is drive yourself.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Even when you're staying on property, driving yourself works good for Epcot, Animal Kingdom, and okay for Hollywood Studios, depending on where you're coming from. The buses sometimes will get in before the parking lot opens, though. Just be aware of that. Yeah. So, but driving also works. I would not drive to the Magic Kingdom because you have to then take a
TTC.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. Just ride the bus to Magic Kingdom.
There you go.
There's the fundamentals, other than make sure you eat a nice, nutritious breakfast of Diet Mountain Dew and miniature donuts.
Oh, no, I skip breakfast every time I rope drop. Don't listen to us for dietary advice. Yes.
No one's going to look at me and think I need to listen to his dietary advice.
Yeah, welcome to Rope Drop Radio, your fitness podcast with Derek and Doug.
No.
Our New Year's resolutions are
Resolutions are to cardio in the park, get all four.
also
one
thank you
day.
to our listeners and Patreons who are trying to convince us to do a Run Disney one of these
Right.
days.
There's some pressure. I'm almost gonna maybe look at a date.
Okay, I'm in.
Almost maybe look.
So, all right, do we want to go through the parks or do we have some more tips? All right.
I think we got all the fundamentals covered.
Yep.
Other than, advance aggressively, don't push anybody, but have your elbows ready to maintain your space. The other fundamental that applies everywhere is stay with your party. Don't be the person that has your 12-year-old run ahead and then come into the line and be like, oh, we're catching up with our group. We're catching up with your group. And it's just one person. That's not a group.
Nope.
Keep your group together.
That has happened ridiculous amount of times to me on test track.
Be prepared to park a stroller. So whoever's not parking the stroller, be able to grab the child and carry them. It's not the time to let a 3-year-old walk across to the line.
Preach that one.
Carry, your 5-year-old gets out of the stroller. Yeah, sure. But like the little kids, not the time to see the first steps in a park.
Yep.
Because it's serious business.
It's go time.
After the first attraction, Disney calms down a lot, but rope dropping is stressful.
The cat's out of the bag. People actually do it. It's very popular now.
Yeah, it is hectic. It is a little wild, a little crazy. Try to stay towards the front, but also remember, if you're not the first one, it's not the end of the world. You're still ahead of thousands of people.
Yep.
If you can see the first one.
Yep.
Right? Especially Flight of Passage. We'll get into that more as we
sounds good. Well, speaking of Flight of Passage,
let's
start with Animal Kingdom and talk about rope dropping there. I know you and I have had some very interesting rope drops because there isn't a lot to rope drop at Animal Kingdom, so you got to pick a path.
There's several paths, and when you say we've had interesting ones here, on Alden's 10th birthday, you got a bloody lip rope dropping Flight of Passage. Like, an adult didn't even care. And so, yeah, it can happen. And did he have a nice little knot on his lip the rest of the day that he then continued to like chew on and make worse? Yeah. So be prepared, but it's usually not bloody. I think that's the only time we've been bloodied.
Oh, okay.
Just the one time. And Alden also lost a shoe in one rope drop.
Yep,
so
been there.
It's a thing. But anyway, Flight of Passage. So you're staying on property. You're using early park entry.
Yep.
You know how hard it is for me not to say extra magic hours, Derek? It's like so hard.
Yep. Dollar jar anytime you say it.
Oh, it'd be full. Anyway, early park entry. We're going to just assume everybody's doing it correctly. You're towards the front of the crowd. If you did not buy an individual lightning lane, you go to Flight of Passage. There's no other option. If you bought an individual lightning lane for later, guess what? You get to go to Everest, and you don't have to worry about the chaos that is heading towards Pandora.
Yep.
So that's what your individual lightning lane buys you, is a little bit quieter rope drop. Why don't we rope drop Safari, Derek?
Because it never opens on time, though that line gets kind of ridiculously long in the morning as well.
And you can check the app, click on the Safari, click into it, and it may tell you the opening time. Sometimes it opens a half hour after the park.
Yep.
Sometimes it opens at regular park opening and not with the early park entry. So you also need to check what does open. So those are your two options. We did not say Navi River Journey, did we?
No, but it's also, if you have little kids and you want to do it, maybe half the party goes to Flight of Passage, the other half with the really little ones do Navi.
Yes.
It's not, because that line will get really long with people doing the same thing.
So that's kind of your only option there. So say you rope drop Flight of Passage. Usually you get off that, I would head towards Safari. After Safari, head towards Everest. And then you have the rest of your day to
come back, do
Dino,
Triceratops spin, and you got Animal Kingdom done. Animal Kingdom is one of those parks that if you can successfully rope drop, I'm talking getting on the rope, you can knock that thing out in hour and a half, like of all the signature ease.
Then you have the rides done, and you're just simply left with shows and dining and nature trails.
Yep.
Right? And there are lots of shows at Animal Kingdom. You don't rope drop any of those. Now, if you're doing Genie Plus, Animal Kingdom's phenomenal. You rope drop what you want. You make your make a genie for Safari. You can go when it's convenient. Then, it's much easier. It's one of the best, I think, for managing the park. If you combine Rope Drop with Genie Plus, you'll have a great time. And you can also snag a Genie Plus for a little later for one of those shows, so you don't have to stand and wait. Lion King is a great use of it, actually.
Yep, did that on our last trip. Great.
Especially if you're rope dropping.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Animal Kingdom, I think, is one of the better rope drops. You get more bang out for your buck,
especially
for getting
when
up.
You and I did Flight of Passage right after it opened. Talk about a fun rope drop. That's Doug and I's one of our first rope drop together. Was that our first one ever together?
It was our first trip, yeah.
First trip, maybe first attraction.
It'd been open for like 3 days, 4 days.
There you go. And that's how Doug and I got to know each other. We should have done a live show then.
We should have. We didn't know what we were doing yet, podcasting, but that was great. We just packed in like sardines with a million of our friends, headed to Pandora.
Yep.
Yeah. But Flight of Passage, you can do either way, individual lightning lane or rope drop it. If you're not at the front of the Flight of Passage crowd, do not fret. It's a big, big theater. The first 100 or so get in. Mm-hmm. So it's not like loading one roller coaster car.
Yep, great one. So there you go. That's Animal Kingdom. Let's transition into Hollywood Studios 2023. What are we doing for rope drop?
Oh, we never did the off-property version of Animal Kingdom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. You get in 30 minutes late to Animal Kingdom.
I would buy this, just being honest, I would buy Flight of Passage straight up, and then I would rope drop Safari or Everest, whatever is more important for you.
If you don't have the funds, I always say just wait till closer to the later in the day. Yeah. Flight of Passage does dip down.
Which is a reverse rope drop strategy. This is the rope drop show.
Just saying, in case. Yep.
It's a whole different.
There you go. Good, different.
But it's off property. That half hour really hurts you. But Safari might open when you can get on it. Mm-hmm. So, but just be aware, there's going to be people in line before it opens. So don't expect the park opens for you and walk to Safari and no one's going to be there. There's going to be a pre-line already going. So, but Everest is also a good. Everest is a people eater, so it stays good for a long time. Dinosaur is also a decent choice for off property, and then Genie plus your other stuff.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah,
there we go. All right, now to transition.
Yes,
Hollywood Studios. Let's get there. Say park opens at 9. It's 8:30. What are we doing, Doug?
Oh, bless your heart. You're at Hollywood Studios. This is the hardest one to rope drop, in my opinion.
It definitely does. You will get there early, and there will be people in front of you. It is hard
amazing.
To get on the rope at Hollywood Studios right now. It's just mind-blowing.
If you can, Slinky Dog is where you want to beeline, or Tower of Terror. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are thinking right now, why on earth didn't you go to Rise of the Resistance? It's the most expensive individual lightning lane. I want to save that. I mean, it's serious money when it adds up for a whole family, but it's not dependable enough to rope drop because 9 times out of 10 you get there and it won't be open.
Yep.
And by the time you pivot to go anywhere else,
the lines are already full. Yep.
So then you have to decide, do we just stand in Rise of the Resistance and hope it opens today?
Yeah.
Like, it could be 2 hours.
I've seen it open afternoon.
Yeah.
I've seen it open on time. I got there one time that it was one time I walked on at rope drop and it was Disney Plus Day. Yeah. It'll never happen ever again.
No. Where Animal Kingdom, we said you could buy that individual lightning lane for Flight of Passage, and you can do that if you're off property. It doesn't sell out. But with Rise of the Resistance, the only way to buy it is be on property because you get to buy it earlier. We highly recommend just buying Rise of the Resistance.
I saw the line was at 4 hours this last weekend.
Yeah, and if your time is valuable when you're in the theme park, you can't stand for 2 hours in one line.
4? That's insane.
Just it's part of the price of admission at this point. Think of it that way. It's a bitter pill because it comes on your credit card statement when you get home, but you can't rope drop Rise of the Resistance. So don't even try. You're left with Slinky Dog, Tower of Terror, or Rockin' Roller Coaster.
But Rockin's going down this year.
Rockin' will be down for a little bit. Who knows exactly how long? which will make the wait at Tower longer.
Yes, it will.
Which
So yeah,
makes it a
Rockin' goes
higher
down
priority.
in February.
Yeah. So Tower's a good thing to rope drop.
Is that even fully up yet? It is.
I don't think it'll
still
ever
too
be
towery.
fully operational. It's no. They'll never actually. They'll get it fixed. And
They'll fix. Well, in the first cart goes down. It's like, oh, now we're back to the beginning.
Kind of like road maintenance. It just the highway is never really finished.
Yep. Well, and if you have really little kids, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is a good one to rope drop as well. If they're too short for everything else in the park.
Everything else in the park except Mania.
Yep.
So that's Slinky Dog is a good one. That one you need to be close to the front of that rope, because there you're loading those individual coaster cars. So if you can be in the first 2-3 dogs, you hop off that. Then you go to Toy Story Mania while there's still minimal wait there, and then you bite the bullet and stand in line for something. That's the thing about Hollywood Studios. You can do 2 attractions and then you're gonna have to stand and wait. Or use a Genie Plus.
Oh, no, I got 3 one time, but I went to Star Tours for that third. It was great.
Yeah, Star Tours is a great third attraction, actually.
It is.
Good point, Derek. It's going to be the lowest wait, longest in the day.
Yep.
So that's an excellent point. You could do Tower, Rockin', Star Tours. My family does that a lot. You could do Mickey and Minnie's Mania and then Star Tours. You could probably do Millennium Falcon is a decent rope drop. Is maybe not the best, but it's decent. You could do Millennium Falcon and then Toy Story Mania and then Star Tours. You can see there's lots of options. None of them are right. None of them are wrong. Well, don't rope drop Star Tours, I think is what we're saying. Don't rope drop Alien Swirling Saucers.
Nope. That line's insane after about 30 minutes. I don't know what happens.
Just don't go on it.
Oh, take the littlest ones on it.
Well, the littlest ones can't. There's a height
it's 36 or 32, something like that.
30-something. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So Hollywood Studios is hard.
It is. They need more stuff.
They have shows. So they have the stuff, but they don't run the shows at Rope Drop.
Rope Drop Indiana Jones.
And you're still in line for that 3rd or 4th attraction when the shows start.
Yep.
So you miss the first show, then you're hungry, and then you miss the second show because you're eating at ABC Commissary.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So usually I'm at Woody's eating my breakfast.
That's true. Even when it's 1,000 degrees.
Still good.
He
Always
doesn't
good.
care.
I don't.
You did it in September. I'm like, how can you sit outside and eat that?
It was phenomenal. And I use that word very loosely. Thank you, listeners who say I say phenomenal too much.
I think someone started a drinking game. Every time Derek says phenomenal, I don't know. What do they take a drink when I say, Derek?
I don't know, listeners. Let us know
Let us know what the actual drinking game is. I know someone out there has it. What is the Rope Drop Radio drinking game? Please let us know. Because we can't make it because that would be dangerous.
That would be drinking on air. So anyway, did we talk about if you don't get early entry? What do you do?
Oh, yeah. So off property.
Yeah. Now Hollywood Studios is a mess, by the way. At 30 minutes, it just blows my mind still to this day.
This is one of the parks that makes staying on property worth it if you have to define worth. You know what you can rope drop efficiently? Star Tours.
Star Tours.
Maybe Millennium Falcon would be your
still
best.
Still be 30, 40-minute wait, maybe, depending when you go.
It will probably still be lower than it will be later. I've seen people be right on that rope for the park opening. You might get to Toy Story before it's over a half hour. So those are kind of your options. Mm-hmm. If you're off property, you're saving money staying off property, I would invest that money into Genie Plus.
Absolutely.
But I know that's not an option for everyone, but that's when it kind of adds up and helps you with your rope drop strategy. But Star Tours would be your fastest on and off to get you into that next line because they will get bigger till noon, right? So getting on and off Star Tours can allow you to get over to Millennium Falcon or to Toy Story Mania, or just bite the bullet and stand in line for something really long like Slinky Dog or Rise at that point, because you're not going to be able to buy Rise. Mm-hmm. So if it's open for a regular park opening, because you can check the app.
Yep.
And if it's open, when that opens,
you might get lucky because they haven't even started putting people in the line yet.
Yeah. So the
There you go.
earlier you can get in that line if you're staying off property, the better, because you can't buy it if you're off property for that individual lightning lane. That's complicated stuff. We'll get more into that next week.
All right, so let's move on to Epcot, the park that is massive and also has 2 entrances. How are you rope dropping this, Doug?
Well, right now, we were recording this at the beginning of 2023. Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind has a virtual boarding group queue system. When you're listening to
will
this,
change tomorrow
may not.
after we record it.
Right.
So yeah,
As soon as we record this, they'll announce regular standby. I expect regular standby to come when Tron opens.
I agree.
I think they only really want one boarding group thing going at a time because I think they know it's not popular.
Could handle it.
What?
No, Disney IT.
So get your boarding group right at the time it opens. I'm not going to say a time. Look it up on your day that you're there because that could change based on when you're listening to this. So we'll just not tell you what time that is, but it's usually right at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. or so. Get your boarding group, or you can buy an individual lightning lane for Guardian Galaxy if you want to control what time you want to go a little bit more. But the boarding groups are, keep in mind, they are not lightning lanes or fast passes. It gets you into a queue, but the earlier in the day you do it, the faster you'll get in and out. If you're there in the first couple hours using your boarding group, if you have a low number, you'll be in and out fairly quickly. Later in the day, that seems to back up more.
Yep.
It seems to be the experience. So you don't have to rope drop that. So that leaves you with 3 options, in my opinion.
Okay.
What 3 do you think I'm thinking of, Derek?
That's interesting because Test Track, Frozen, or Ratatouille.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's the 3. Soarin', if you're really like Soarin', but
it's got
you
3
can do
theaters
Soarin'
and
layers,
it's a good second
right?
one. Yep.
Second or later in the day, like when everybody's in World Showcase, you go back to Soarin' in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
It works good then. But those are 3 totally different areas of the park. I am going to say if you're on the rope, if you're aggressively positioned from the front of the park, Test Track is the best option. Because if it rains at all in the middle of the day, guess what's closing?
Yep.
Test Track.
Yep.
So it's good to just get that done and over with as soon as you can. But if you are not near that rope, say you are a kind of lackadaisical rope dropper that day, I would not go to rope drop Test Track because it backs up fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the closest from 0 to 60-minute wait of any ride other than it's similar to Mine Train. It just poof, there's a line. So at that point, I would audible towards either Frozen if you're coming from the front of the park. If you're coming from International Gateway, Ratatouille is definitely the way to go. It's right there, and that makes sense. Also, keep in mind, those are all regular lightning lanes that you can get on Genie Plus. Thoughts, Derek? What are you doing second?
Second is usually always Soarin'. Well, it depends on where I'm at in the park. Ratatouille, Soarin' for sure. I have had one of my favorite rope drops of all time was at Epcot, and my wife had the stroller with Callum, and then me and the Gingers walked very quickly, we will say. No running allowed. We were actually the first group on Test Track. And I will tell you what, getting Test Track knocked out first, and then by the time Madison and the stroller caught up, we were on our way to Frozen and really got pretty, 15-minute maybe, give or take. Yeah. And I was like, to knock those out was such a win to start the day. And you
can.
Yep.
So Frozen's an attraction that has that initial surge, and then there's a little lull because it's so far back there. Most people just hop in a line in Future World.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so, Spaceship Earth to this day blows my mind. How many people? I've seen it back up an hour. I'm walking. That's the first attraction we got to do at Epcot. It eats up a lot of people.
Yeah. And it can have a decent line depending on the time of year you're there, but you don't need to rope drop it.
Yep.
That's doing things in Future World. I know it's not called Future World anymore for everybody that's yelling at me. But doing things towards the front of the park later in the day, Epcot's the best for that because everybody gets back on World Showcase and they're eating and drinking in Festival Lane. And they forget
all about Judi Dench.
Poor Judi Dench. Oh. Right? So definitely don't rope drop Spaceship Earth. Nemo and Friends,
Figment, please do
Imagination.
not do that.
Like, don't Mission Space. You don't need to. That's your third attraction. Those, and you can go to any of those in any order for your third thing, and then just kind of watch wait times and follow the wait times. Go where they lead you.
Yep. So what happens if you're staying off property, Doug? 30 minutes, man. What would you? There's a lot of things that are pretty full.
I would avoid Test Track. I'd probably go Soarin' if you want
Yep,
to e-ticket.
I agree. Yes.
That is when Frozen gets its real line. Is once the regular park guests are let in.
Oh, and Ratatouille.
Oh yeah, we're not even gonna bother there. Those are good. Like you mentioned earlier, the reverse rope drop strategy. We have a show about reverse rope dropping. You can Google it and find it, or maybe not Google, but search in iTunes. There's lots of ways to attack the park in Epcot, and there are a lot of good ways. Where Hollywood Studios had a lot of different options on what you could do, and none of them we like. Really, like none of them were like, "This is great, you should do this." Like, there's no definitive answer. But it's all kind of bad. They're all like the bad news. Where Epcot has a lot of answers, but they're all good. They're all decent answers. Pick what you like and go. Like, if you've never been on Ratatouille, Uber to Beach Club.
Yes.
Hop
Good
out,
tip.
go to the International Gateway. Get to the gate. If they won't let the car in, just hop out. Tell them you have breakfast. I don't know. Just Uber, walk to the International Gateway, and go in that way and hit Ratatouille. Yes, you're going to spend a little money on an Uber over a bus, but, I mean, you could either walk the mile from the front of the park to Ratatouille, or you could cheat, go that route. But International Gateway is pretty awesome. So if you're coming from any of those resorts, or from Caribbean Beach or Pop Century or Riviera, you're taking the Skyliner.
Yep.
And you can boom right into Ratatouille. And you'll beat everyone else by a mile.
Yep.
Literally a mile. That's
a good one. I like it. I don't like that ride as much, but there you go.
Oh, one other fundamental of rope dropping that we totally ignored, Derek. After you do your first 3 or so attractions, that's when you're allowed to stop by Starbucks.
Oh, interesting. I was going to say the first thing you got to do is tag us at Rope Drop Radio, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and let us know where you're rope dropping. By the way, those are my favorite things. When people are like, am I doing this right? And you're on the rope. Yes.
And we're like, I love those tags. We got a lot of those over the holidays.
We did. A lot of people traveled, so I'm glad you're able to get there. Unlike Doug. Also, we teased a Disneyland trip, and that didn't happen. We'll talk more about that on Patreon. So
that's after show material, folks.
There you go. All right.
All right.
Let's move on to the biggest dog of them all, Magic Kingdom. So it is 30 minutes before park officially opens. You're staying on property. Somehow you've walked there, you've gotten there, you've taken a boat. You are in the park, Doug. There's a lot of directions. There's not one single which way to go. What are you going to do?
All right. So early park entry is a little different here. So early park entry, they're going to scan your Magic Band or your park media to verify that you're in a hotel room. All right. We never said that earlier. They're going to verify that. You have to have your group together that's in your hotel room. And you say that, 4 people. And you go in. And then at the Magic Kingdom, as you're coming down Main Street, before you get to the hub, they're going to make you take a hard right just past the ice cream parlor to go over and verify. So you already head towards Tomorrowland on the outer ring of the hub. The hub kind of has multiple rings. You'll be taking the outer ring of the hub. Right now, pull up Google Earth, take a look at it. You're going over there. And then after you verify, you can either get on the Tomorrowland Bridge or the bridge that heads back towards like Cheshire Cafe by and Cosmic Race, right in there to head towards
Fantasyland
and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Yep. That's the big ticket, the individual Lightning Lane attraction in the Magic Kingdom. And that's where you got to go. You be there early, you get up close to that rope, you do it. Be ready to park your stroller and throw people in arms. And
that is where 70% of the people are going to do.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to do that, that's when you go to Space Mountain.
Yeah, Space Mountain's a lot less stressful. Grant, you still want to be close, and when it's time to walk, when that rope drops, you'd be ready
You'd
to.
go.
You can pass quite a few people just by aggressively walking.
Well, and also there are a few people that will jump on Buzz because they've listened to our show and they want to become a galactic hero. And People Mover always seems to have a couple people go right to that. So it is amazing at Magic Kingdom how many people veer off in other directions.
Tomorrowland Speedway, Astro Orbiter actually gets quite a few because there is no Genie Plus for Astro Orbiter, and it will have just the most annoying line later in the day. So if you have Genie Plus and Lightning Lanes, Astro Orbiter is not the
a bad
thing.
Yep.
If you're getting
my
all
kids
the other
talked
stuff,
about like we haven't done that in a while, and I'm like, I'm well aware.
That's because of the G forces and the
I don't
annoying
like
line.
it. Yes.
Not a fan.
No, not at all.
My girls went on it on their own a couple trips ago, and they're like, "Okay, I see why we don't go on that."
Yep.
Yeah,
they're getting too old for that one.
Yep, it doesn't take much.
No, once you feel that.
My favorite recent rope drop was I rope drop Buzz a lot, and the family goes on Space Mountain because of my motion sickness. And we're heading over there. I can tell, oh, it's not open. They are not ready. Well, what happened is they dropped the rope like 37 minutes before park opening. So it was 7 minutes early. So Buzz wasn't ready. And the guy out front of Buzz says, why don't you go check out Carousel of Progress? So all these people like listen to him and walk over there. There's not even a soul outside of Carousel of Progress. So they stand by the rope for Carousel of Progress for a while. And I'm looking at the app. I'm like, Carousel of Progress is not an attraction that opens for early park entry. And this dude just sent people over there. So remember, Disney lies.
They do.
Always check the app.
Yep.
So I just stood outside of the rope for Buzz Lightyear. And like clockwork, the second that early park entry should have opened, he moves the rope. And
there you go.
Doesn't say a word. Just moves it and walks in. And like, nobody noticed. I just walk on in. I was the first person. All these people are still standing over by Carousel of Progress. If it wasn't so funny, I would have went and like said something. I did when I got off of Buzz. I said, hey, Buzz is open now.
Oh, there you go. Way to be a good Samaritan.
Kind of.
Okay. Well,
halfway.
My favorite rope drops at the Magic Kingdom are all when I get double rope drops. I think that's a good transition. So able to rope drop Mine Train, able to rope drop, you're the first one on Buzz, you're the first one on Space.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, you know what? I want to be the first on another attraction.
Yes.
So you make your way all the way. You double rope drop. So you make your way all in the back of Fantasyland. Get on the second rope over there by Haunted Mansion area.
So,
past
you go
by
past the
Rapunzel's.
bathroom.
Yep. And then you can get on Haunted Mansion. Been able to do that.
Really fast.
Yes.
Yeah. So double rope drop is a thing in the Magic Kingdom. Now, if you're staying off property, you want to be early to be on that second rope already.
Yep.
Because it opens at regular park hour. The other thing you can do is go get on the rope in Adventureland or Frontierland and go that way to go to Thunder and Splash for a little bit of 2023. Not much longer, but that's a great double rope drop is to go get Thunder Mountain in.
That's a good one.
Or you get done with Mine Train, Peter Pan. A great way to go. I'd say you have little kids that don't measure up for anything. Peter Pan is probably your number one thing to go rope drop.
I agree. Done a lot of rope dropping Peter Pan.
Yeah, and then you get off Peter Pan. You want to avoid, one other thing about early morning is you want to avoid the real long attractions first. Like, It's a Small World is a very long attraction.
Eats up a lot of time.
So say you do Peter Pan and you get off that right away and it's just right across and it's just super quick to get on. Don't do it. Go get on Winnie the Pooh because you can on and off Winnie the Pooh so much faster. And then do teacups. You get on and off, like walk on, walk off. Then go It's a Small World. And then you have Fantasyland. And then you can move back to New Fantasyland and work your way back towards the Barnstormer, right? That's a great kind of route. Don't do Small World too early or PhilharMagic because they eat up time. Same thing with if you're going to do Haunted Mansion, be aware it's a long attraction. So unless you really want to do that double rope drop, I would try to see what weights are in Fantasyland. See what Tomorrowland Speedway's at. You can get some of those as your second and third. But hitting that double rope, you can really get to Thunder and Haunted Mansion before they have any kind of queue. which if those are priorities, go do that. What other long? Pirates is a long attraction.
Pirates is long. Jungle can be long.
Jungle, if you're right on that rope for Adventureland,
that's a win though.
Go to Jungle
because that line will just stay long all day.
All day. The only option there is Genie Plus.
If you're staying off property, please do not go to the giant tree. That's the first attraction. You keep going.
The giant tree. That's right.
Swiss Family.
Yeah, Swiss Family Robinson. If you listen to last week's show, you hear Doug talk about how that's his favorite movie, or one of them. Lightning Lane XL, as I keep calling it now. I think that's the name we should stick with, Derek.
It's a good one.
Yeah. So many options, but the key fundamentals, you want to go to things that can get you on and off quickly early for your first maybe 3 attractions before you do a Pirates, before you do a Small World. What other lengthy thing? Any of the shows. Yep. Hold off on those as long as you can.
But would you rope drop the castle show that you see when rope drop happens?
That's what YouTube's for.
Okay, there you go. Good to know.
Yeah. That's what, you know what? You can watch a castle stage show in the middle of the day 5 times if you want to. It's not much different. There's the same daytime fireworks that you can't see. And Mickey
still the best rope
out.
Drop because when you hear those fireworks, it's go time.
You just start going.
Yep.
There's something like Pavlovian response of I hear the crackling fireworks.
And I just start walking. I don't know why.
I don't know why. I'm just going
pretty quick.
Yeah, and it's too bad you guys don't have video to see me act like I'm walking. It's phenomenal.
There is video of me doing
say.
it. Got
Yes.
Instagram did one once, so
yep,
there you go. And then after you've done 3 or 4 attractions, you can finally get to
Main Street.
Starbucks and get that knocked out. The amount of people I know who rope drop Starbucks, Joe, back to the mouse, blows my mind because yes, you can still get an attraction or 2 in.
The good thing about Hollywood Studios and Magic Kingdom is if you're there really early and you're not doing the top priority attraction, you can actually rope drop Starbucks. Like when we were there as a group in September, we hit up Starbucks, then went and got our spot for Space Mountain, and you guys were on and off Space Mountain 15 minutes or so. And then did we double rope that day or did we do Buzz?
I can't remember.
I can't remember. It's a blur.
Yep.
We were sleep deprived at that point. We had been at a Halloween party the night before. Yeah, sleep doesn't happen. So that's the other thing. Rope drop is so valuable. You don't need sleep.
That's true. Disney
More
Magic
important
will
than
keep
sleep.
you going.
Yes.
Now, what happens, Doug? You're not staying on property. You miss the rope drop. Wait, there's a second rope drop.
Yes.
What are you doing at the Magic Kingdom staying off property?
Your 2 options are
get there early still because
early.
check-in can be a pain in the butt.
Mm-hmm. Get there early. There's more hurdles for the Magic Kingdom. You got to take a monorail or a ferry. So I would say you want to get on that rope for Jungle Cruise.
Yep.
Right? Or head towards Thunder if that's a priority. Those are going to be your 2 goals. Don't look at Pirates. Don't look at the Tiki Birds. Don't look at the Aladdin carpets. Just keep moving. And if Splash is open, the odds are it's not open yet. They're like notoriously late at opening Splash. So hopefully that gets fixed in the renovations. I doubt it, but maybe. It'll become more dependable. So head to Thunder, plus that theory of doing the shorter rides first. That's why you would always do Thunder before Splash. Splash is like 12 minutes long. So that's your whole rope drop. That takes up into your second attraction you should be on. Thunder, you can get on and off. And the Magic Kingdom is the best place to rope drop if you're staying off property. But be aware, you got to get to the TCC even earlier. That's the Ticket and Transportation Center or massive parking lot. And
that's one where you could rope drop Starbucks. Maybe, because someone gets into Starbucks because you're still waiting outside. You can't get in with the other people to Tomorrowland. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you if you're staying off property, you can go super early and get onto Main Street.
Yep.
Because you come into the park
and there you
with
go.
the on-property people. Get your pictures, get your Starbucks, get on the rope. Put one person on the rope, take some pictures, get your Starbucks. Going back and forth to the rope like an hour before it's even going to drop is not crazy.
Yep.
Just go hang out,
There you go.
take some breakfast in with you. That's why I have cargo shorts to put
For all
my
the mini
donuts and the little bottle of Diet Mountain Dew from Amazon Prime.
There you go. Wow, we're not even sponsored by them. So there you
We
go.
should be.
With
I
all the
should,
Amazon orders you make.
right? If I could just buy my own orders through a sponsored link, I'd be.
Okay,
Whew.
sounds good. There you go. Goals for this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how we rope drop all 4 Walt Disney World parks.
Yeah, hopefully we answered more questions than we created.
Well, we probably did create some. So if you have them, of course, message us. We'll have a listener question episode coming down the road as well.
Yes.
But yeah, I hope everyone who's listening to this gets a chance to rope drop in 2023.
That's the real goal. If you're currently in the process of thinking about going to Disney World or just booked or about to book, take advantage of travel planners. They know this stuff inside and out. And really, this is a great time of year to book for the whole year.
Yep.
Don't wait.
That's right.
Stuff fills up.
And to do that, you need to go to touringplans.com/travel and let them know that Rope Drop Radio sent you. Get a quote. You can meet us. We'll be at Magic Kingdom, Doug and I, May 30th.
30th.
Yep.
Yeah.
So rumor is we're going to eat at Tony's, and we'll see what happens. So so come out and join us for that. And then, of course, if you want to hear, we have a couple after shows and Patreon episodes coming out. I'm going to discuss my recent trip. Just flew back today from Miami.
Yeah.
And so we'll talk about that. We got a couple other things, and how Doug was supposed to be doing a Disneyland trip report and didn't end up doing it. So we'll talk about that some more. So there you go. Be sure to follow us at Rope Drop Radio and let us know where you were rope dropping, when you were rope dropping. I don't even care if you're rope dropping the DMV. We love to interact with you and do all those things. So for Doug, I'm Derek. You've been listening to Rope Drop Radio.